Valerie, Andy there talking about the pressure the government is on amid what is now the second heat wave and we're just the start of the summer here in France. So 2 heat waves in less than a month. How exceptional is that?
I mean, summer just began now on Sunday, June 21st. And even before summer started, we had one heat wave. And now we're currently in the midst of a second heat wave. And so according to France's meteorological services, one single event before June 21st is unusual, but having 2 heat waves is unheard of. And Andy was saying just now how 35 million people across the country are under a heat wave alert. And I want to show you a map for you to get a sense of what we're talking about and the sense, the scale, of the heat wave. So 49 French departments under a red alert and the rest of the population orange or yellow. So pretty much the entire country under a heat wave alert. Now, France's meteorological services say that out of 51 heat waves recorded since 1947, 2/3 have occurred since the year 2000, and half of those episodes occurring in the last 15 years. And that is not a coincidence. The fingerprints of climate change are all over what we're seeing now. The science has been crystal clear for years. Recurrent heat waves are becoming more frequent, more intense, and that is a result of greenhouse gas emissions warming the planet.
How do you think France can prepare for what is increasingly looking like a new normal here?
Right. But it is bound to be the new normal, and that is because Europe is warming twice as fast as the rest of the globe. According to a recent research, temperatures could rise here in France by 3.8 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. So adaptation here in France would mean making cities greener, adding more green spaces that can absorb the heat, renovating buildings, homes, across the board, across the country to make them more energy efficient, maximizing shade, ensuring natural ventilation through openings. And those are all passive cooling techniques that, warmer climates have been using for centuries. But we are talking about massive investments, and adaptation has not been seen as a priority here in France. Andy was saying just now how, critics are saying that not enough means and resources are being allocated to adaptation. And what we're seeing really is how governments have overlooked, and not just in France, but in Western rich countries, have overlooked adaptation. Even in climate summits, all we see is a lot of mitigation. How do we reduce greenhouse gas emissions? And adaptation, so how do we adapt to climate change, is something that has been seen as something that's more important to developing countries, rising sea levels for small island states. And so that has created this perception that this false sense of security that Western rich countries, we are not as vulnerable as the rest of the world. And that is not true, because we know that Europe is warming twice as fast as the rest of the globe. And so really, the government is under pressure, but adaptation, that is something that takes years and decades to put in place. And so it's not something that, they're not going to come up with miracle solutions now in just a week.
And just a last question for you. I know that there are lots of Americans out there who say, oh, look, why don't we have more AC here in France, which is so ubiquitous in the United States? What's the answer to that question?
Yeah. Well, AC units do have a bad reputation here in France, arguably for good reasons. For environmental reasons. We know that they use a lot of energy. Granted, France has a lot of nuclear energy. 95% of the ACs rely on nuclear energy, which is low carbon energy. But they can also leak, refrigerant fluids that can be very polluting. They also pump hot air back into the atmosphere, which essentially makes heat waves worse. And so last weekend, France's environment minister said, warn against falling into the trap of believing that AC units were the solution. Now, the political narrative in France, though, is changing, and even the leader of France's Green Party acknowledged this weekend that more public buildings and schools will need AC units in the future. She talked about a common decision for the common good. And so that narrative is changing because heat waves are having, pose a risk to public health. In 2025, nearly 6,000 people died as a result of heat waves. And so people here in France are reconsidering the risk-benefit ratio of that. And there's a study in Japan, which I found quite interesting. Japan having a widespread use of AC units. A study there found that during heat waves, they found a rise in temperatures and urban heat as a result of AC units running. But they also found a drop in heat-related mortality by 36%. And so AC units, are becoming more important in that sense. But the most important thing to me is that AC units are not a silver bullet solution. And perhaps the biggest danger posed by AC units, on top of all the environmental issues, is that AC units can change people's perceptions about, that everything's fine, that heat waves, we can survive through the heat wave and we can carry on like we're doing just now. But really, we need to urgently reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to a changing climate, and no amount of AC units will ever fix the underlying causes of the climate crisis.
This is, as you say, the new normal. Thank you so much, Valerie de Camp, for us there.